Guten Tag, Deutschland! Apologies for my terrible German. The Mighty Jingles here. Very, very happy to be given the opportunity to commentate on this match, which was one of the final games played in the recent Clanwars Twilight of the Gods campaign. As we all know by now, the RSOP clan, and you can see them there in chat with their trademark war cry, Uli Uli Uli, they were the overall winners. Multiple battles fought through various different territories in Asgard in order to claim the right to assault the gates of Valhalla itself and fight the Dark Gods in battle, represented here by the Wargaming clan, the Dark Gods, and they're all driving Tier 10 tanks. 2 T-57 heavies and 6 FV-215B-183 Death Stars. RSOP are limited to Tier 8 tanks only. All of the advantages lie with the Dark Gods, they only have to defend, so they can pretty much pick and choose their territory. And as you can see here, they're all heading to one corner of the map, within striking distance of their own cap zone, and they're clustering all their forces to defend this side. And it's a good deployment. They're all clustered in one corner of the map, so RSOP can only attack them from one of two different directions, and they've got every angle covered. Death Stars ready to rain death and destruction down on whichever side RSOP choose to attack from. T-57 heavies at the front, working as the eyes and ears, mostly using their sixth sense, rather than actually spotting any of those sneaky little AMX 1390s to know whether or not RSOP are probing this side of the map. So before they can do anything, the first thing that RSOP needs to do is figure out what they're facing and exactly where they are. So let's see how RSOP initially deployed their tanks in order to try to achieve that objective. And what they've done is pretty straightforward. They've split into three main groups. Now they're not attacking, they're just sitting in holding positions. There's one group of AMX 5100s in the southwestern side of the map with a AMX 1390 up front scouting. Then pretty much exactly the same thing over on the eastern side of the map. Another cluster of AMX 5100s with a 110 heavy tank actually watching the corner directly with the 5100s hidden out of line of sight, and another AMX 1390 scouting from the top of the hill. Now this is a defensive deployment. They're not actually looking to get into a fight at this early stage of the game. What they need right now is intelligence on the Dark Gods' positions, but they can't overlook the possibility that the Dark Gods might actually try an early attack. So they've got eyes and ears on all the various different approaches, and they have a third group of 4 AMX 5100s sitting in reserve, ready to respond to any initial attack, should the situation arise. It's a smart deployment. So they sit tight in these holding positions, and they wait to see what sort of information their scouts can uncover. And there we go. So they've already identified one of the T-57 heavies and 3 of the FV-215Bs. And the Dark Gods are unlikely to be splitting their forces, so if 4 of their 8 tanks are up there next to the railway yard, that's probably where the other 4 are. Now, one of the AMX 5100s back there, he's obviously been watching a couple of John Wayne movies. You can see him putting some completely ineffective fire in, just emptying his magazine at the corner of the building up there, where the T-57 heavy was spotted. He knows he's not going to hit anything. He's not trying to hit anything, he's just trying to distract the Dark Gods into focusing more of their attention down this side of the map, as everybody other than the scouts and the 110 in the holding position over on the north-south road under the hill pulls back and masses for an attack from the hill. They know that if 4 of the Dark Gods are on this corner up by the railway yard, then the other 4 are going to be nearby. And so it falls down to this little AMX 1390 here to keep them interested, while all of the AMX 5100s gather together for a massed assault from the hill. And so Finnish Kebab here in the AMX 1390 is doing exactly that. He's just keeping everybody's eyes pointing in this direction. You're saying, look over here, don't look over there. Everybody look at me, right? I'm the guy you should be pointing your guns at. Oh, and they are pointing their guns at him. He actually bounced a shot, or ate a shot with his tracks from one of those T-57 heavies. Didn't get quite so lucky with the second shot that hit him. But they're definitely paying attention to this side of the map. And that's great news for all the rest of the guys in the AMX 5100s who are getting ready to launch an attack from the hill. Or is it? Well, apparently you don't get to be the Dark Gods of Valhalla unless you've watched a couple of Western movies yourself. They've seen all those movies where the Apaches come out, make a lot of noise and a big song and dance, and sucker the 3rd Cavalry into going out chasing after them. And bingo. They're fully aware that just because there's a lot of smoke and noise coming from one end of the map, that doesn't mean that's where the attack's coming from. And the other 1390, a little bit too keen to gather some intelligence on what was going on this side of the map, has alerted them to the fact that it's entirely possible for RSOP to be approaching from more than one direction. And the little 1390 over there, driven by Finnish kebab, could be nothing more than a distraction. And there's an awful lot of firepower now coming over to this side of the map. And it's happened at the worst possible moment. The 1390's just died. He's confirmed that the Dark Gods are redeploying tanks to point in this direction. But the only reason they're redeploying tanks to point in this direction was because they spotted something in this direction and have been alerted to the fact that something might be happening on the opposite flank. RSOP goes for it anyway. And things get very, very violent very, very quickly, and that is not what you want to see when you roll around the corner in an AMX 5100. But the French tanks are given as good as they get. They do have some devastating combined firepower, but they're losing tanks left, right and centre. Never underestimate the amount of firepower that 12 AMX 5100s can unleash in a very short space of time, but these are 215B183s, they only have to hit them once. And the T-57 Heavy is no slouch in the firepower department either. Of course, the limiting factor about the AMX 5100, as well as the pretty terrible armour, is the fact that it's a hit-and-run tank. It might be able to unload 6 shots in a very, very short space of time, but once it's unloaded those 6 shots, it has to run away and hide while it reloads for the better part of a minute. This fight is over. Now they have to get the hell out of there. They have killed 2 of the Dark Gods 215Bs. That's a quarter of their team. But considering the firepower that they were unleashing down that road, 12 AMX 5100s, all unloading their magazines, that's actually quite disappointing. And it cost them a third of their own team to do it. That's not the kind of exchange rate that you can afford to sustain. They're going to run out of tanks before they win if they keep losing tanks at that kind of rate. So they're going to have to do something sneaky. The initial attack was actually a pretty good plan, and it was executed almost flawlessly, right up to the point where an overeager scout gave the game away, alerted the Dark Gods to the fact that maybe something's happening on the other flank, and they were all over them like stink on shit. So now they're going to have to do something creative. But that's alright. Creative is what RSOP do. So here's what we're going to do. Half of our remaining AMX 5100s down here. You guys are the bait. AMX 1390 and 110. Same deal, other side of the map. Keep an eye open on this side, make sure they don't try to come out. If they do come after you, fall back, stay alive. The 5100s will come to your aid. If they go after the 5100s, you go to their assistance. All the tanks that we've seen so far exist purely and simply to draw the Dark Gods away from their flag, which enables these 4 guys on top of the hill to swoop in, take the flag, and steal the game. They're not going to win this in a straight-up, face-to-face shooting match with the Dark Gods. They're going to have to cap, and to do that, they're going to have to pull them out of the flag circle. Simple plan, but they don't have many tanks left, and this is the best they can do. So, good luck to whoever gets spotted first. Just stay alive as long as you can, and make them chase you. And it's the 5100s. You know what to do, guys. Make a lot of noise. Make them come after you. 110, 1390, support them. Guys on top of the hill, get into position, but don't commit yourself until we know exactly where all 6 remaining enemy tanks are. Then make your move. Decoy team, You've got the shitty end of the stick here, I'm afraid, but it's imperative that you make these guys chase you down this road and draw them away from the flag so the guys on the hill can get in there and win the game. Flag team, that's it. All enemy tanks spotted. You're clear. Make your run. Now remember, it only takes 3 of you to cap. 4 people in the cap circle don't cap any faster than 3, so one of you can afford to stay here in a blocking position. Preferably somebody who has a full magazine load. So while this guy finishes off with this Death Star and only has 3 shots left, he is going to head for the cap. One of you guys coming down from the rear with a full magazine, stop. Only one of you. Doesn't take 2 of you. We need 3 people in the cap. The decoys are all dying, but dying is what their job is, and they've done a very, very good job of it. Look how far away from the flag they've pulled the Dark Gods in. It's only now that the Dark Gods are realising that they have completely miscalculated and the real threat is behind them. They're hopelessly out of position. RSOP, anybody on the team that is not sitting in the cap circle is now rushing to take up blocking positions and delay these guys getting back to reset the cap. And that is how the Dark Gods of Valhalla got their arses handed to them, on their own turf, by a bunch of Finns in Tier 8 tanks. Well done, RSOP. Hell of a game. And Wargaming, if you're watching this match, go on, give the Finns their own official language sub forum. You know they deserve it. Take care, folks, and I'll catch you next time.